Ladies and gentlemen, this is Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. And the show starts right now.
Wake up, America. The rooster's been crowing and the sun is already high. It's time to open them ears and open that heart. Start listening to Ed and Ronnie, two fellas with a whole wagon load of sense, and watch their streams.
All right. Welcome to Red, White, and True with Ed. That guy gets me fired up, Ronnie. I don't know.
Yes, he does. Yeah, absolutely.
We need to have him on as a guest or something to, I don't know how you can not be fired up with that guy in the crowd. I mean, sitting here, well, here we go, get ready to start. And then he's like, oh, right, well, here we go.
I love him.
Yes, he is good. We need to find him. Of course, sometimes it's hard to find AI people, right?
AI, yeah, right.
Oh, well, hopefully we get some people in here. Keep saying zero up there.
My goodness, yeah. What did everybody forget about Monday?
Yeah. There we have one lone person. One lonely person. But we'll get ready to crank this thing off. Ronnie, I'm glad you...
We got a comment from the one lonely person.
Oh, it's always good to have Bill and or Tanya with us. It's kind of fun to try to guess which one it is based on the way they respond to different things, or sometimes they respond separately because they're watching from different devices, and they're always a lot of fun, and we try to have a little fun on here. But we also got a lot of serious stuff going on in the world. And I don't know, I've got a segment that I'll do a little bit later where I'm just kind of burned out. I said that last night in my sermon. Boy, politics is just really kind of burning me out lately. They're just, it seems like there's so much ado about nothing. The whole Guthrie issue is just seems to be dragging along, and I know you can't fault anybody about that, but
I'm getting sick of it, really. I mean, plain and simple, I'm tired of hearing about it. I mean,
and you know what? I've been thinking, as much as we cover stuff, do we make a difference? You guys tell us, do we? Not Ronnie and I per se, but sitting around talking about things, do we make a difference? I hope we do. I hope that we brighten things up for you a little bit, and maybe that's our calling, to just sit down and relax with you. But like I said, I got a segment that I haven't done. Well, I've not done this segment ever, but I haven't done a specific segment for a while. But what do you want to start off with, Ronnie?
Well, I've got a segment as well. I've got a segment as well, but we usually like to start out with laughing a little bit. Now, we talked on Saturday about the Security Council in Munich, Germany. Is that correct? Is that where it was?
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about AOC and her kind of showing her ass. And here is AOC.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States.
Did she say anything?
It's like
Yeah.
it's like a longstanding policy of the United States.
Well,
You
here's
didn't
what
answer
I
the
think.
question.
The person that asked the question was stupid
Yeah.
because AOC don't get to decide those kind of things.
No, she's got no call in it whatsoever. But
And so
you're just asking her opinion.
Since we're on an AOC, I've got a good one here too that, well, just.
This is the definition of you just can't make this up. Watch.
Actually, I'm going to stop that. That's not the right one. And I want to save that one for later because it's so good. Maybe I didn't download. Oh, I think I know where it is. We'll save it for later too. AOC is asked about Venezuela. And while she gives more information than what she did on that clip right there, she gives stupid information that is totally inaccurate. So I'll pull that up where I've got it in just a bit. And there it is. I'm hoping tonight that when I share the screen that things work okay, because it sure didn't on Saturday. Let me share the screen real quick and see if that's going to work for me. And if it is, we could be able to use it. And if not, I'll quit worrying about it and not keep trying like I did on Friday. So let me share my screen. Did I say Friday?
Yeah, Saturday.
It was Saturday. There you see AOC. Let's.
Yeah.
It's going to do that again. I think it may have to do with the way I've got my sound hooked up. And so I'll try to explain what it says. Can you hear me right now, Ronnie?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Okay. So they ask about Venezuela, and you see the picture there. And she's telling what we can and can't do because she says that Venezuela is south of the equator. And that dotted line across there where the red circle is, that's the equator. And actually, I'm really doing her justice because, again, she just, if they run her and Harris, oh my goodness, it'll be like Seinfeld, the show about nothing, because they will talk about nothing. She'll be word and Harris will be salad. They'll be word salad together. And so, well, I know right out of the chute that that's not working. And I tested it earlier today and it did work. So I've got to come up with,
I wonder what the difference is.
I think it has to do with the sound. I have the sound on my laptop turned off, and I think it's got something to do with that. Anyway, we'll move right on, and let's go to some more humor. Do you have some more humor, Ronnie? I hope.
Let's see here. Yes, I do. What'd I do with it? Where'd I do with it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I got quite a little bit of videos here today, so right here. Democrats This is them.
Because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal.
It's giving.
I want to see trans kids.
The secretary, because the fact of the matter is.
Being undocumented is actually not a crime.
The prisons are set up in our society. I would argue that they do not work. They do not make us safer.
Word salad, she was talking on the phone, but when she showed her phone, it was on the camera. So.
Oh, my.
God love her.
Yeah, somebody needs to.
Yeah, right.
Troy does. There you go, boy. I don't understand how we got so many retards in Congress. I seen a video, didn't save it, but it would be perfect for Do Better Texas because it was Jasmine Crockett, and they had white Jasmine Crockett, and she was talking very calmly and sounded very professional, stupid, but professionally stupid. And then they had black Jasmine Crockett, and she was speaking with the Ebonics. Yeah, with the Ebonics and all of that stuff. And that was a pretty good one too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she's got an accent for like Kamala Harris. She's got an accent for every crowd she's in.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to work with her if she's running. I don't think she can run for re-election in the House when she's running for Senate. So if that's the case, and if she doesn't win the Senate, which Lord help us if she does, but if she doesn't, that means strike three, she's out of here.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean she can't run again in 2 years, but yeah. And Troy, how you doing, buddy? It's always great to see you in here. While we're still early on in the show, maybe it'll give us a chance to do this a couple times. We're promoting the fact that we are on YouTube live, and we say that for a couple of reasons. One, we need as many people following us and watching on YouTube as possible, so that at some point in time we can monetize and make a little money off of what we do here. There's a lot of very, very successful live streamers that actually make a living doing what we're doing, and so I don't know if that's what our goal is. It would be great, but also sometimes Facebook kind of screws around with us, and like Saturday night they threw up a message that there was, or maybe it was yesterday when I was doing my sermon, threw up a message that a couple of the sites on Facebook that we were using wasn't recognizing something, and so I didn't know whether I was on those sites or not. And then when you're going solo, you gotta try to talk and work and do all of that at the same time. And we don't seem to have issues with the other streams like we do with Facebook. And so it would be really nice, and it would also be helpful for us if we were to just show on the Red, White, and True Facebook page, the X page, and YouTube. Because the reason that we the reason that I pay for additional space is to do many, many different pages. And I think we could probably get people to go down to just the one Facebook place, and that's where we are. So we're going to keep promoting that we are on YouTube. The other thing is, you could sit in your living room pull up the YouTube app on your television and just kick back and watch Ed and Ronnie that way. I mean,
that's right.
And I know Ronnie has more motivation for that because you get to see all that.
Who doesn't want to, right?
Very well. There you go. There you go. What's next?
Well, so I got my main story of the night. Besides my my little spiel is the SAVE Act. Now we covered this a little bit on Saturday. More information is coming out about it, and I've got some right here.
Under the Save America Act, individuals will be required to provide that proof of citizenship in order to register, and on election day, required to demonstrate voter identification.
The purpose of the SAFE Act is to ban non-citizens from voting in federal elections and also to implement some kind of voter ID law where you would have to show your driver's license when you go to cast a ballot.
While the specific policies may have changed since the days of the Jim Crow South, the goal of the SAVE Act is the same: disenfranchising American citizens and making it harder for eligible people to vote.
More than 21 million Americans don't have ready access to documents proving that they're American citizens, and something like more than 2 million people don't have a valid form of government-issued ID. As things like voter ID have become more of a concern, particularly among Republicans, some states, mostly in the South, like North Carolina and Mississippi, have implemented voter ID laws. Non-citizens are not allowed to vote in federal elections, but there are certain territories like Washington, D.C. that allow them to vote.
You know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway.
Trump just keeps banging this drum about the prospect of non-citizens voting, and it's sort of reached a fever pitch in the past several weeks.
I'm going to stop that right there because they're claiming this is Jim Crow 2.0. Now, let's look at Jim Crow 2.0. That was created by Democrats in the South, again, to keep black men from voting. How is it making it to where you have to show ID, keeping black men from voting? Now, if illegals were coming across the border en masse to vote Republican, I guarantee you that every Democrat that's ever voted blue would be fighting for this SAVE Act, would be fighting for ICE, would be fighting for any, border patrol, Immigration Customs Enforcement to get every illegal out of the country, because the Democrats realize they're losing. The Democrats realize that their days are numbered, and they're doing everything they can to shore up their numbers. Now, if they come across the border illegally, they give them a cell phone, food stamps, all this noise, then they're going to vote Democrat. And they've secured a voter for their entire existence while that individual is in the United States. Now, it's going to be a little ridiculous because people are just asking basic questions, and these senators are just blowing them off.
Hi, Senator Murray. Now that the Save America Act has officially passed the House, can we count on you to join in to support it in the Senate? Nope. Why not?
Well, there's a highly intelligent person.
Yeah, that's leadership right there. That's leadership right there. Now let's listen to what Pocahontas has got to say about it.
The SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean by voter ID. When you want to say that everyone has to produce a birth certificate, including women whose married names are not on their birth certificates, that creates a real problem for me.
Well, isn't that just one of the first steps in getting married is getting a new ID?
Actually, it's not getting a new birth certificate, because part of what the SAVE Act does is it says most driver's licenses around the country won't work as an ID, and that creates a terrible problem.
But you need an ID to do just about anything in America. Shouldn't you need one to
vote in elections? You don't need a birth certificate. I hope you know that.
Thank you.
Now, where did anybody say that you need a birth certificate to vote? It makes no logical sense to me. Now I understand the whole married women thing, but like she just said, aren't you required to change your ID? Well, yeah, you are. You've got a certain amount of allotted time. So I don't understand where this birth certificate stuff is coming in. And then we got people like this woman, politics woman, but a guy I watch on YouTube likes to call her the politics grandma. And we're not going to play all of it because I watched about a third of it and felt stupider afterwards.
Hi. So I'm away, but there was no way I couldn't come on here and tell you that the SAVE Act just passed in the House and it's moving on to the Senate. And if you're just listening to mainstream media or the typical party line, you might not even understand what a big deal this is and how dangerous it is to our entire country. The SAVE Act is a voter suppression bill dressed up as a voter protection bill. The people who wrote it are trying to trick you. And that starts with the very name of the bill. It is called the Save America Act. And who would vote against saving America? Well, everyone should want to, because this isn't a voter ID bill like it's being sold. It's an election takeover bill by the very people who are worried they're going to lose the election. As written, this bill accomplishes in legislation what Trump and his party have been unable to accomplish in the courts, which is the handing over of our state voting rolls to Kristi Noem's Department of Homeland Security. Trump is currently in lawsuits with over 20 states to get their voter information. He just marched into Fulton County in Georgia to take their voter information. But with the SAVE Act, he doesn't have to do any of that. He doesn't have to fight with states to protect our votes in court because everything will just get handed over to him, and then his administration gets to decide who stays on the voter rolls and who is flagged for removal. Do you think they might coordinate that list with all of the information they take from us on social media or all of the data they stole from us using Doge? Yeah, me too.
I'm going to stop that right there. But this woman is on the internet claiming that you're going to go onto a list and Donald Trump and his administration is going to pick and choose who's allowed to keep voting. Where anywhere have you heard that crap before? Besides this snowflake. I mean, Troy, right here.
I was just going to throw that out
when they
too.
lied, the whole country be on fire. Oh my gosh.
Burn, baby, burn. That'd be the disco inferno of all time.
Like Democrats.
Well, let's go back to Pocahontas for a second. She said that a woman's married name is not on their birth certificate. Well, duh. That means if you followed what she says, that only single women that had never been married, not just single, but had never been married and changed their name would be able to vote. And that's going to happen in 2026. We're going to uninclude every woman that's ever had their name changed. No. I mean, do they really think people believe all of those lies?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, where in the world are these people coming up with this crap at? It's and then that's politics, Grandma. The name Save America Act, it's misleading. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. It is stopping from illegals who shouldn't have a federal ID, who should have no say in any sort of federal elections in this country to go in and vote. It's also stopping dead people from voting, multiple Democrats from voting more than one time. I see no issue with that. And if the Democrats weren't trying to hide anything or weren't trying to conceal anything, then they would have no issue with these kind of laws. None.
I need to correct something. I believe that I have been referring to this in previous episodes as the SAFE Act. In S-A. I think I may have been saying that. And I realized even before we were on tonight that I needed to correct that. And so I'm doing that right here.
The SAFE Act is what they're going after Don Lemon about, because going into churches and stuff, like disrupting church services, that's the SAFE Act. This is the SAVE Act, Save America Act. But
now,
so
it may make both of us speechless. I've actually got a video myself that goes right along with this, and it'll seem, when you first see it, you're going to think this is humor, because this guy is an amazing Donald Trump impersonator. But I just recently started listening to some of his things where, well, he always throws Donald Trump impersonations in when he's talking, but this one is more just his personal opinions.
Requiring proof of citizenship when somebody registers to vote in this country is not controversial. It's common sense. You have to be a stupid person to not think that this is common sense. It's very common sense. You don't need people who don't belong here, who aren't citizens here voting in our country. It's very bad. Do you really think the Democrats, if non-citizens voting benefited Republicans, do you think the Democrats would want this to happen? Of course not. That's why they so vehemently oppose the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is one of the most common sense based pieces of legislation that I've ever seen proposed in this country. What is so outlandish about requiring that somebody provides proof that they're actually a citizen here, therefore they have the right to vote guaranteed to them by our Constitution? Why is that so controversial? Why is that so outlandish? The answer is it isn't. But you've got half of the country who wants to say it's racist. You've got half of the country who wants to make it sound inhumane. They're comparing it to Jim Crow. All it does is protect our elections. All it does is protect your voice and make sure that your vote is not canceled out by somebody who is not legally authorized to cast a vote in this country in the first place. Pass the SAVE Act now. It's common sense. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is it common sense or controversial? The smart people will say common sense. The stupid people will say controversial. Don't be a stupid person. And while you're at it, I want you to follow Shoutout. They're a great new platform that I just joined up with. Amazing platform that's all about free speech. You know, people like me, like you, we've got to be able to speak our minds no matter what the powers that be, the internet overlords think. So follow Shoutout. They're an amazing new platform. You're going to love the experience there. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I like how the Trump voice slips out every once in a while. In there.
Yeah, it's like he can't go very long without it coming out.
Yeah,
but he highly intelligent person, it seems like. Actually, he's highly intelligent because he just repeated some of the things that you just said.
Well, I'm not going to go that I'm highly intelligent. I'm trying not to be like this guy, and I'm not going to play the entire video because he gets off his rocker.
We want to force everybody to use a passport inside their own country because that way the only valid passports will end up being owned by Republicans. That's what this whole voting registration bullshit's all about. They want to make sure that they can choose that only their people are the ones with valid ID. That's how this goes, okay? If a passport's the only form of acceptable ID for you to be able to vote, guess who controls the passports? Marco Rubio. Guess who sits at the right hand of Donald Trump right on that couch, right next to J.D. Vance and his stain? It's Marco Rubio. He's sitting right there. He's the Secretary of State. Secretary of State's in charge of passports. Secretary of State can go over to a switch on a board and just go ahead and mark that every single Democrat in this country has an invalid passport. That's how that goes, and that's how that will go.
You know, I don't know too much about the Secretary of State, but I'm almost positive that they don't just go over to a board and flip a switch. And poof, the Democrats go away. How stupid can you be?
Now think about this for just a second. The last 2 or 3 videos that we put up on TikTok have gotten quite a bit of attention, and people would say, well, on their if they had a show, they would put one of those video ups and they would make fun of us and all of that. Now, I'm sorry, but yeah, we don't care. We, give our web address and all that stuff too. Tell where to find us.
Yeah, right.
But there ain't no way we compete with that kind of stupidity.
Go over to a board and just flip a switch, and every Democrat vote just goes right out the window. I mean,
right out the window. Oh, compared to that guy, Ronnie, you are a genius.
Compared to that guy, this idiot white dog over here that's snoring is a genius.
Well, I think. Well, okay. Yeah. And I actually have one more video that's right along with this. It's one I started to play earlier. Let me throw it up here real quick. I love Chad Prather.
This is the definition of you just can't make this up. Watch.
I like it in here. This is a cool store. You got, you I don't know what's going on back there. That threw me off. Have you been watching the news lately?
No.
They're trying to make people show their IDs to vote. Do you think that's racist?
Yeah, they're tripping.
I agree. Can I get the hitter, the purple one, and then the bong?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
You have some ID?
Okay, what we're seeing in our world is people who are conditioned to respond to certain stimuli. They haven't thought through any of it, none of it. They have just become reactionary based on what they've been told to feel about a certain topic. So they literally don't hear the words coming out of their own mouth. They don't see the hypocrisy and the illogical illusion that they've chosen to live in. Because it sounds right, feels right, seems right. You played it perfectly, Josh. Fantastic job.
Man, she fell hook, line, and sinker.
Right into that.
They be tripping.
Got any ID?
I mean, she couldn't have been better on cue if they would have rehearsed that for weeks.
Oh my gosh. So you don't need an ID to vote, but you do to buy a bong. Makes sense. Makes complete sense. That's great stuff right there. That is great stuff right there. Well, that's all I've got on the Save America Act.
Well, again, it's up to 50 votes in favor.
Mm-hmm.
And when all of the heathens that went to Munich, and there were Republicans and Democrats that went, I don't think do you have any more video with things that were said at Munich? Hillary had her mouth running.
Yes, actually, I do. I have 2 videos of big old hill dog talking there.
I think that the Trump administration's position toward Ukraine is disgraceful. I think the effort to force Ukraine into a surrender deal with Putin is shameful. I think the effort that Putin and Trump are making to profit off the misery and death of the Ukrainian people is a historic error and corrupt to the nth degree. So I believe Ukraine is fighting for our democracy and our values of freedom and civilization on the front lines, losing thousands of people and having their country destroyed by one man's mania to control them. And I think Trump either doesn't understand or could care less about that suffering. So that's what I think.
And so do you think he has destroyed the West, to go to our title?
He has betrayed the West. He's betrayed human values. He's betrayed the NATO Charter, the Atlantic Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. A lot of what has been done before to try to make sense of how difficult it is to restrain people who want unaccountable power. Migration has been a huge flashpoint. More people.
I guess we can talk about that first video before I play the next one.
Well, first of all, I got one word for her. Benghazi.
Mm-hmm.
How dare she go on a world stage and, I didn't even notice that. I wasn't on the comment page. Thank you, Bill and Tanya. But leaving our we are,
Double team. Pow.
How dare her, how dare AOC, any of the ones that were over there bash their own government. It's one thing to do it over here. It's one thing to do it on the floor of the Capitol building in the American news media, but to go overseas in front of heads of state and top-ranking officials throughout the world and bash our government, I wish that they couldn't get back into the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Just leave them over there. That infuriates me. As in, if you don't like it, then just leave, okay? Just leave. We stayed around when Sleepy Joe Biden couldn't tie his own shoes. And there you go. Marco needs to flip that switch.
Yeah, go over to the board, Marco, and flip that switch. Revoke her passport.
Yeah, that may be one of our new go-to phrases. Go over to the board, Marco.
Oh, boy.
But back to being infuriated. But thanks for breaking that up. To bash your own government on a foreign stage is despicable. Oh. And if Republicans go and do that, they shouldn't be doing that either. I don't have any data to back this up either way. If we did do that as Republicans, we need not do that. You know, I guess it's a military part of me. The chain of command, you follow the orders going down, but going back up, you don't do things to make the people below you look bad.
Yeah.
You know, you better have their six, because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And if you ain't got their six, they ain't got yours.
Nope.
Guaranteed. And so why should anybody have Hillary Clinton's back? Would anybody have AOC's back when all they are concerned about is talking about how bad Trump is? You know, it's kind of past the point of Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, being a thing, because that thing isn't funny. Think about, boy, you got me going. Think about if we go back to his first 4 years and then his first year here, 5 years. Think about if the Democrats would have put America first. What could have been accomplished in those 5 years?
Oh, yeah. Think about what would happen if the Democrats put America first any other time. Anytime. What could be accomplished?
Well, where would we be? And the thing is, we talk about this all the time, and nothing gets any better.
No.
You know, I seen a comment on our video where you introduced that bipartisan political ad. And one of the comments in there talked about how things weren't so heated between Bush and Gore and Clinton and Dole and, you know, all of these hogwash. I mean, Rush Limbaugh made a career.
Oh, yeah.
A very, very wealthy career during those times of bashing each other back and forth. I mean, don't tell me that it's always been nice. I mean, go back to Reagan and Carter, and I love Ronald Reagan to death, and he had plenty of ammunition, but I mean, he didn't take it easy on Carter. So they tried to make it like getting together is all Trump's fault. You know, if it wasn't for Trump, this country would be united. And I'm calling BS right off on that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We weren't united the last 4 years when Trump wasn't in office.
No. Sleepy Joe was in office, and we weren't united. We weren't, I mean, and he was supposed to be the uniter in chief, remember? That's what he promised. The day, his inauguration day, he was going to combine everybody. And then a couple years later, he's standing, I don't remember exactly where, but, you know, with the backdrop all in red and the Marines standing there, and he looked like, you know, Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. And he said MAGA Republicans, you know, with his angry fist. You literally just bashed over half the country. I thought you were the uniter in chief. What happened there?
Yep.
So, no, this country's never been like that.
Well, go on with Hillary.
All right.
Migration has been a huge flashpoint. More people were deported under my husband and Barack Obama without killing American citizens and without putting children into detention camps than were in the first Trump term or this first year of Trump's second term. So I think it's important to look at the facts, because very often the ideological impulse to try to protect the status quo or return making America great again in some nostalgic past that existed for white men and capitalist enterprise was not exactly open and welcoming to people who look like me and a lot of other people who are part of our national fabric. And I think we need to call it for what it is.
Secretary
There is a
Clinton.
legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people. Migration has been a huge...
My apologies. I was trying to get rid of it and it played it again.
She wouldn't know the truth if it jumped up and bit her right on the nose.
No. But, you know, at least her husband and Barack Obama deported more with cheaper and without killing American citizens.
I've seen, and again, you have to do research to make sure that what you see is actually real, but I see numbers that ICE has been responsible for the deaths of American citizens, and it was way more than what the Benghazi Queen.
Old Hill Dog.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I just don't even know what to say. How do you combat, first of all, the stupidity that we've seen tonight, and then the blatant, not even close to being true lies that they say? And that's exactly what they say about Trump, that he lies about everything. And
the biggest, most infuriating thing goes back to what you were saying. This woman is on the world stage in another country. Whoever the presenter or whatever actually even tried to stop her talking, and she continued bashing the country. Flip that switch, Rubio, because this isn't the first time she's done it. This won't be the last time she'll do it.
Heavens no. I don't have a clip of it, but there was actually a person, and I don't remember if it was male or female, but actually called her on some of the things. That person was from Czechoslovakia. Oh, well, Czechoslovakia doesn't exist. It must have been the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, yeah.
Boy, I dated myself there saying Czechoslovakia.
The USSR.
But basically called her out. And I don't know if it was in that setting or, you know, they had... This is like a big conference that they have different sessions in. And, you know, Hillary, you seen she was sitting on a panel there. And you know, AOC's in another room with another panel. But thank God that Marco Rubio was over there, because you've got some things on that too, don't you?
I actually do.
And let me just make one more point, because I think you asked him a question in order to see if you can get him against us with something about, oh, you criticize. A lot of countries didn't like what we did in Venezuela. That's okay. That was in our national interest. I'm sure there's something he'll do one day that we don't like, and we'll say, hey, we didn't like you did this. So what? That doesn't mean we're not going to be friends. We're not going to be partners. We're not going to be able to cooperate with one another. Countries express their opinion all the time. We have very close allies that didn't like what we did in that regard. I can tell you what, it was successful. We're proud of it. It was necessary, because the guy was a narco-terrorist. And we made him a bunch of offers, and he chose tore them out. And look what's happened in Venezuela in the 6 weeks since he's been gone. Okay, now it's got a long way to go, There's still much work that needs to be done, but I can tell you Venezuela is much better off today than it was 6 weeks ago. So, we're very proud of that project. And, I know some will disagree and didn't like, but irrespective, I think everyone can now agree that Venezuela has an opportunity at a new future that wasn't there 6 weeks ago.
So you notice the difference between him speaking and then AOC and Hillary Clinton. Where was he at? He wasn't on a panel, but there were American flags behind him. He didn't one time bash the United States government. He spoke with reason and intelligence. So, I mean, the other two just sat there and bashed Orange Man bad.
And what did he say that could be misconstrued as a lie? He acknowledged that some of our close friends didn't agree. He didn't sugarcoat that. He said, you're probably going to do some things that we don't agree with. And then he says, so what? I mean, that's life. People aren't going to always agree, but you don't have to hate each other. I'm sure Israel would love for us to make a decision on what we're going to do in Iran. You don't get a closer ally than Israel.
Nope.
But we're still getting along. And so that's the way things work. But another thing that he did, I don't know if you have video of this or not, but he was talking about how Europe is going to have to take care of Europe and not depend on the United States so much. I mean, it wasn't in your face, screw you, Europe, but he was pretty straightforward that, the days of us having to take care of everything Europe, this isn't the Soviet Union days where Europe would have been massively taken over by the Soviet Union if we weren't there. Now, I'm not saying, and I don't think he was saying, that we back totally out of NATO and that Europe is just on their own. But why should you and I foot the bill for NATO? I mean, we ought to be a minor part financially of what goes on for NATO. It's their hind ends we're protecting, not our own. And so, and I like the comment, here it was, Marco is becoming the MVP, and that is a fact. I think we could just about guarantee that in 28 we're going to see a Vance Rubio ticket, and I think Rubio has already taken the lead in saying it would be Vance on the top of the ticket. There we go. We have to take care of America first, then we can help them. That only makes sense. Now, again, we're living in a different time. When it was the USSR, and you look at all the other countries that they had, and all of the Soviet bloc nations, Poland and Czechoslovakia, Hungary, all of those other countries, then there's no way that West Germany, France, Great Britain, that's the three big ones, was going to be able to counter that. They had to have us then. But, Poland's on our side now. Hungary's on our side now. And the world is a different place. You can't take care of anyone until you take care of yourself. And that's a fact. And somebody's paying for all of this. And that somebody is, just think about, if we took the federal budget and just continued what Musk and the Doge people were doing, but also do that in other parts of the budget. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Rand Paul, but he's one that says, you cut out foreign aid. And I'm not saying that that's what I think we should do, but boy, I think there ought to be some qualifications way more than what there are. I think we give money to countries way too easily.
Here, I actually just found, courtesy of Ed Boston Media, his speech. Hang on, if it'll play. Come on now.
For 5 centuries before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Soldiers, its explorers, pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. Europe was in ruins. Half of it lived behind an iron curtain, and the rest looked like it would soon follow. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come.
Now, like you were just saying, he's not bashing Europe. He's not putting Europe down. He's stating facts.
Yep, absolutely.
Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end, and that our future was destined to be a faint and feeble echo of our past. But together, our predecessors recognized that decline was a choice, and it was a choice they refused to make.
I'm going to go ahead and stop that right there. But the rest, if you care to watch, is courtesy of Ed Boston Media on X. I found it there
on
myself.
X. That would have been part of the things that I had on my, and so there, it's got to be something on my computer end, because you were able to pull that and play it.
Yeah, I don't know what made me think about it, but I just said, you know what? Let's go over here and see if it worked, and it did. And I wanted to show real quick while we're still on it that video of the most wonderful and intelligent AOC.
You know, we look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not.
I like how she's talking normally and then she uses the accent. Venezuela.
Not a. It is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections.
And
he was
again,
an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator. And
again, this woman is on the world stage.
and saying that we kidnapped a head of state.
A world leader.
We kidnapped him.
Because they're below the equator.
I'm trying to figure out what that even matters.
Yeah, whether it's above the equator or below it doesn't matter.
So if they're below the equator, they're hands off, or
yeah,
what's the point? See, I told you earlier that I was doing her a good there by I couldn't make her sound as bad as what she can make herself sound.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, I'm going to put my segment off until Wednesday. We've gotten
a little long-winded.
Well, legitimately so, I think. I mean, we've both been a little on the worked up side tonight, and I don't think that's what, you know, God works in mysterious ways, because my segment was totally opposite, basically, of everything that we've done tonight. You know, I started off with I'm burned out on politics, and then we go along, and now I'm burned up about politics. And boy, Hillary Clinton will do that to me. Do you want to do your segment, or do you want to hold it off until Wednesday? If you we got some time.
You know what? Let's knock it out. Let's go ahead and knock it out.
Well, before you do, let me look at. Don't play your segment start yet.
Okay.
Let's do this one.
Members of Congress, people of Earth, the time for secrecy is over. Watch Ed and Ronnie. Get the truth. The answers you seek are within reach. The future depends on it.
That is right. Aliens. That is right. So, you know what? I'm not even going to bring it down with the segment opener. Let's just jump into it. I've got a bunch of videos. So, if you were joining us on Saturday, we talked right before we went on. We got a note that Obama had been talking about aliens, and I've got a couple of clips.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
But yeah, so if anybody knows me, they know I'm a space fan, a big Star Trek fan, and the prospect of aliens is always something that's, I don't know. It's kind of, you know, excited me and made me think and wonder, you know, is it possible that we're not the only intelligent life in the galaxy? Now, I'm not trying to go against the Bible, and I'm not trying to say the Bible's not right or real. And I believe wholeheartedly in the Bible and all that. But I also can't look up at the stars, at the sky, and go, are we the only ones here? You know, so for, you know, a long time, this whole situation about aliens, UFOs, and Area 51, like Obama was talking about, you know, has been a big prevalent thing. And I'm sure you've seen movies like Independence Day and other stuff like that. But, you know, there's things that a lot of people, this is Tim Burchett talking about aliens in the ocean.
You've speculated about 5 or 6 bases of non-human entities. Where did you get that number from?
From some Navy officials that had, in fact, had broached that subject to me. I always remember the last thing this one fellow said, because you've been in my office, but you come in one door and you can go out the other if you choose. And nobody ever does. They just go out the entrance they came up. He chose to go out the other door so he could kind of get away from all the other. And the last thing he said was, he looked at me and said, "Tim, they're real." And I'll never forget that. And I you know, it led me to believe that he had more information. And of course, the walls have ears, as you know.
This subject is gaining a whole lot of popularity. It has for a while. I don't know if anybody remembers the rush Area 51 deal, that they can't kill us all, or these people are going to go rush Area 51, and that turned out to be a huge flop. But apparently this whole UFO, UAP phenomenon has been gaining a whole lot of traction. That video is what they call the Tic Tac. Now, the Tic Tac is it was tracked by U.S. servicemen, airmen, and it was moving and banking and doing all kinds of maneuvers that would require so much thrust and so much power that it was physically impossible because of the G forces, the gravity forces on the pilot. It was all around the water. It would go in the water. It would come out of the water, and we can sit here for years and show mysterious videos of unidentified flying phenomenon, which is UAP or UFO, unidentified flying object, which is what it normally called, flying saucers, little green men, men from Mars, that kind of thing. But when you've got a president that was talking about it, and he's not the only president, and then you've got senators and congressmen and all this kind of stuff, it really starts to make you think a little bit.
These are entities that are here on this earth, that have been on this earth, that who knows how long, and that we think they're coming in from way out. Maybe they did millennia ago, but they're here and they're in these deep water areas. And that's why, like we say, we know more about the face of the moon than we do what's going on there. Now, we have a higher propensity of sightings around these 5 or 6, I believe, deep water areas. And so to me, it just, it creates a question there. And then when we have naval personnel telling me that we have these sightings and that there's these underwater craft they're chasing that are doing hundreds of miles an hour, and the best we've got is something that does maybe just a little under 40 miles an hour. So I got a lot of questions about that stuff, and oh my God.
So it definitely makes you think, and in all honesty, and I appreciate all our viewers, and I love every one of our viewers, and that I'm going to try and not take it personal that I start talking about kooky stuff like aliens, and then we lose 2 viewers. Good night, Donna. Good night, Troy. We surely appreciate you. And I've got one more, and in honest Trump fashion, Donald Trump talks about everything else but what he was asked.
So there are 2 questions I have to ask
Go
you.
ahead.
The first one's kind of fun. Aliens. I want to talk to you about aliens.
Yeah.
UFOs, UAPs.
I know.
The disclosure we've seen in Congress recently. It's confusing and upsetting a lot of Americans because there's something happening. There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
So it's such a question I do get a lot, and it's such an interesting question. I've met with pilots that look just like you, actually. Okay, they have more of a crew cut. Okay, they look like him and they look like you. Some of them look like you,
a little fatter.
but these are perfect people.
Okay,
and they're not
crazy.
Conspiratorial. They're not crazy.
Yeah.
And they tell me stories that they've seen things that you wouldn't believe. These are not people that you would say, "Gee,
no way.
oh, that's
no
okay."
Way. President of the United States.
But
I said,
who is it? That's Joe Biden wanting to do an interview. So I've met with pilots like beautiful Tom Cruise, but taller.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
handsome, perfect people. Sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. And I look at these guys, and they really mean it.
Yeah.
And am I a believer? No, I can't say I am. But I have met with people that are serious people that say there's some really strange things that they see flying around out there. And, if you go to Nevada and you look at that little section of where they go to look at the aliens, where they think all the aliens are landing, that, it's I think it's maybe the #1 tourist attraction in the United States.
Roswell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roswell. I think it's the #1.
So Donald Trump's not a believer. Barack Obama is. Where do you sit on the fence? I don't know. It's kind of like the ghost thing. I know, Pastor Ed, you're not a believer in aliens. You've not seen anything definitive. I know you said that on Saturday, but
which would make me on the side of Donald Trump and you on the side of Barack Obama. I'm just pointing
which
that
I
out.
don't like. I don't like one bit. So I might not believe in aliens anymore.
And It's interesting that I came back and you're on the left side of the screen now,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Obama are
Let me see if
tight.
I can fix that. Bam! Bam!
Yep, it works pretty quick. And you did lose two of our regulars.
I'm
And
trying
not
not to
only
take
did
it
they,
personal. It is 9
at
o'clock,
least
though.
they did say goodnight, though. They did
Yeah, they
say
didn't say
goodnight.
you're crazy and get a life or anything, and then they dipped out. They at least said goodnight. You're right. So, but, oh well, I don't know. Like the poster in the X-Files. I want to believe. So
There we go. Cindy came in right on time. One for Ed. Woo! Now, in Ronnie's defense, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, the only thing that he has in common with Obama is they're both human.
yeah,
I think.
That's about it. Yeah.
I was interested, though, that the one comment Obama made was, "What was the first thing you asked when you were president?" And he said, "Aliens."
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first thing? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
that's what you want to know about. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm interested in space stuff and stuff like that, but I don't even think the top 10 would crack are aliens real. I'd want to know who killed Kennedy and the origins of COVID, and I mean, I want to read the president's book. The book of president, the book of secrets, I think is what it's called. So I don't know. There's so much more going on than I don't know. Maybe aliens would be top 5.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Once you
Once
become president.
That's right. That's right. So
I'll be your campaign manager.
All right, let's do this. Taking it to the White House.
Well, I think that's about going to wrap us up for the night. You don't have anything earth-shattering left, do you?
Nope. The only thing I do have is our 10-second commercial for Sergeant D's.
Wake up to the bold taste of Sergeant D's premium coffee beans. Sponsoring Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie, we bring you that perfect morning boost. Try Sergeant D's today and taste the difference.
There you go.
You can find him on Facebook, Sergeant D's Coffee Beans, or sergeantdscoffeebeans.com. And I cannot play our other commercial because the Sears Winter Market is no longer going on, which makes no sense. Still winter.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have went through March at least.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask us at Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie.
Yeah, we weren't included in that conversation. So.
No. Well,
it is what it is. So that's all I've got.
So Wednesday, Ronnie's been kind of a slacker. I wanted you to know, because normally he would have worked today and we moved this back so that he had, one of the reasons, so he had a little more prep time on show days. But being that it's President's Day and being that he is a government employee, but he's not a Fed, he's a county employee.
Yes. Yeah, not a Fed.
He had the day off today. So, he's been a little bit on the slacking side.
I have.
But so
Literally.
he's gonna have two shows in a row where he's had plenty of time to prep, because next show's Wednesday.
Three, because we're doing the next one on Saturday. So all 3 shows this week. I don't have to work that day.
You're right. So these ought to be 3 of your best shows ever.
Yeah, which is great because I'm not on call either. So I don't have to listen for the phone. I don't have to go write people fines for not feeding their dogs or pick up smashed dogs on the side of the road or anything like that. So, yeah, I'll come back kicking on Wednesday.
There you go. And I will do my segment. I'll probably do it early on. That way, I make sure I get it in. I care a lot about what I've got to share. And sometimes they fit in and sometimes they don't. And tonight was one of those nights where you just hold it on for the next time.
Well, and you said that earlier, and I was going to mention, I find it interesting because every time right before we go live, you pray for us to get out of the way and for God to let us say what he wants us to say. And it seems like tonight was just one of those nights where that happened naturally, where we had other things to do, other things to talk about, but I looked down and the hour's almost gone, and we had already covered what I wasn't planning on spending more than a couple of minutes on, but it was something that needed to be said, and I've got
like 2 topics. I mean, it really was.
Yeah. So, hey, it happens that way.
That's why many times the best sermons I've ever preached have been ones that I just kind of like throw my notes off to the side and
shut your brain off and just talk.
Yep. Just let her fly, God, let her fly.
That's right.
Wednesday and Saturday this week. So,
yep.
I had something else. Oh, I Can Only Imagine 2 opens up this weekend. And so, highly recommend. If you've seen 1, then I don't really have to recommend it to you because you know how good it was. If you've not, it'll be okay to watch I Can Only Imagine 2 before you go back and watch the first one. But that's starting this week. Some information I got today on young Washington. I'll get that together and share with us here. I know that Ronnie and I were excited when we heard that was going to be released. And so,
absolutely.
Say goodnight, Ronnie.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
And we will be back, Lord willing, on Wednesday and before, if necessary. And until we see you again, go out and do the right thing.
Thank you for joining us for today's live stream. This has been a presentation of Ed Boston Media.